anti-Blackness and hierarchy ingrained for 400 years. I mean, I've talked about this.
How are you feeling about 2021, the highs and the lows?
2021 in some ways encapsulates what my life has become over the last few years, where I've gone from being, just a journalist to becoming some sort of symbol for people who either love me and my work or revile me and my work. This year, to me, is just reflective of what I've always understood about this country, and that is that steps forward, steps towards racial progress are always met with an intensive backlash, that we are a society that willfully does not want to deal with the anti-Blackness that is at the core of so many of our institutions and really our society itself.
Do you think this country is poised to make any progress on issues of racial justice, and especially around education?
What I'll say is what was underplayed was that there's a difference between a classroom teacher who maybe didn't do a great job of a lesson on race and the state legislature seeking to ban entire ideas, or people who are threatening school board members, which we saw, the anti-critical race theory crowd threatening school board members, or school boards banning books or threatening to burn books or saying we aren't going to allow you to teach these ideas.
Do you believe we're at a point where our democracy could be in peril?
What we are seeing is what we saw after the period of Reconstruction in some ways. It's not exactly the same, of course, but this slow rollback of the rights of Black voters, of working class voters, of voters of color, with laws that are making it more difficult to vote, with hyper gerrymandering that ensures a white minority can maintain power no matter what a increasingly diverse majority is voting for. It's a slow roll of laws that are being passed and policies enacted, and everyone's acting like they don't think it's that big of a deal because it's just one law here, it's just one change there, and the next thing you know, the majority of Black Americans lose their right to vote for a century. So I think that we are in a very frightening time. Our democracy prior to 1965 was predicated on exclusion. It existed because Black people were excluded from democracy, and it was really a democracy for white people. We're seeing something very similar occurring now. So we haven't had a true democracy or resemblance of a democracy except for 55 years. And that we have seen the kind of tearing apart of those fibers of democracy once people of color in large number were able to have sway elections.
Overall, are you satisfied with the 1619 project since its launch? Just overall, not just the book, but in general.
Absolutely. I'm proud of what we've done. It's exceeded all of my expectations. The disappointment, of course, has been that outside of that debate, that we've seen a backlash that's not just saying we don't agree with this, but efforts to really legislate against the project, to prohibit the project from being taught in schools. The agenda is to take the story of Black Americans in slavery from being an asterisk to being marginal, to being central to how we understand our country. When people say that, though, I know that they're saying it in disparaging ways. I'm just being honest about the nature of this work.